The excitement has already begun, and Falcons fans, you'll want to know every detail. We're on the verge of what could be a transformative season for Atlanta, and not because of a single star or attention-grabbing signing, but because of a series of strategic shifts, unresolved issues, and emerging storylines that could redefine the franchise's trajectory. But before I tell you, click the like button and tell me, do you agree with Michael Penix Jr. being chosen as the starter? I want to hear your opinion. This isn't just about the hope of a winning season. It's about a team on the verge of something much bigger or much more disappointing. And it all starts with a name that's been making waves, Michael Penix Jr. He wasn't just drafted. He was chosen 8th overall, no less, by a franchise that had already poured a boatload of guaranteed money into a veteran quarterback. Yes, Kirk Cousins. Yes, all that money. And yet, when push came to shove, the Falcons didn't flinch. They made their decision, and now, Penix is the guy. Let that settle in. The decision was met with shock by many, including NFL analysts like Doug Farrar, who couldn't believe Atlanta would invest so heavily in Cousins only to turn the page almost immediately. But here's where it gets fascinating. Penix didn't just take over by default. He earned it. When Cousins struggled to stay healthy, and let's be honest, didn't deliver what Atlanta was banking on, Penix seized the moment. Despite being a rookie thrust into a pressure cooker role, his performance was enough to solidify his status as the Falcons' starting quarterback entering the 2025 season. And he's not walking into this role unprepared. According to quarterbacks coach Zach Robinson, Penix sees the game like a veteran. He's a film room junkie, brutally honest with his own mistakes, and brings a football IQ that's rare for someone so early in their NFL journey. His athletic arrogance, as some call it, is a double-edged sword. It fuels his brilliance, but it could also lead to high-stakes errors if he doesn't find the right balance. That's what makes this season so captivating. We're not just watching a QB play, we're watching a high-wire act unfold. Now, while Penix has locked up the top spot, Cousins isn't exactly in exile. He's still here. He's accepted his demotion, perhaps more out of necessity than choice. No team was willing to take on his massive contract. So there he is, a backup with a starter's paycheck and no clear path forward. It's awkward, it's expensive, and yet, it might work. Having Cousins behind Penix adds a layer of veteran stability that few other teams can claim. But the quarterback story doesn't stop there. The third spot on the depth chart is wide open, and that battle is heating up. Enter Easton Stick, a journeyman backup from the Chargers, and Emory Jones, a practice squad QB fighting to keep his NFL dreams alive. Stick has the edge in experience, but as training camp approaches, the pressure is on. He has to prove he belongs, or risk being replaced by someone better, because, let's be clear, the Falcons will look for an upgrade if he falters early. This quarterback room isn't just stacked, it's a powder keg. The starter is a second-year phenom with everything to prove. The backup is a veteran with nothing to lose. And the third-string battle could be won or lost in a single week of camp. That's the kind of internal competition that can either galvanize a locker room or fracture it. Which one will it be? Meanwhile, outside the quarterback spotlight, another quiet storm is brewing, this time on defense. Despite a much-improved pass rush, thanks to first-round picks Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr., the Falcons have a glaring hole at cornerback. Yes, they re-signed Mike Hughes to a solid 3-year deal. Yes, he was arguably the best value signing of the offseason, allowing just 0.90 yards per coverage snap. But let's be real, this isn't the elite cornerback pairing fans were hoping for. A.J. Terrell is a lockdown corner. That's not in question. But the other side of the field? That's where the problems could begin. Hughes is solid, not spectacular. Clark Phillips III might be ready to take the next step, but that's a gamble Atlanta seems willing to make, possibly out of necessity. The truth is, with under $5 million in cap space left, the Falcons simply can't afford a splashy free agent signing. So unless something dramatic happens, like a trade, the current CB core is what we're rolling with into training camp. Speaking of trades, don't sleep on this potential move, Shelby Harris. The 34-year-old defensive tackle from Cleveland could be exactly what the Falcons need to bolster their run defense. He's experienced, consistent, and perhaps most importantly, Expendable on a Browns team that's going younger with Mason Graham and Mike Hall Jr. Analysts like Corey Woodruff believe Harris could make an immediate impact in Atlanta's interior D-line rotation. With Cleveland possibly looking to clear space and Harris in the final year of his contract, the pieces are there for a smart, low-cost deal. If GM Terry Fontenot pulls the trigger, it could be a game-changer. All right, Falcons fans, we're just getting warmed up. That's the first half of this deep dive, and there's so much more to break down. But before we dive into the rest, including more roster battles, the offensive line picture, and the full outlook for this 2025 season, I want to hear from you. What do you make of the Falcons' bold quarterback decisions? Do you trust Penix to lead this team? And should the team trade for Shelby Harris? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's zoom out to see the bigger picture of the rebuild Atlanta has been engineering. The Falcons' offseason was quiet in terms of headlines, but deeply strategic behind the scenes. Heavy investments in the draft, especially in the first 2 rounds with Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr., signal that the front office isn't interested in simply competing, they want to dominate. Walker, from Georgia, is known for his versatility and tireless motor. Pierce, from Tennessee, brings the kind of explosiveness that changes games. Combined, they represent the kind of pass rush presence Atlanta has been seeking for years. If these two adapt quickly to the NFL, the Falcons' defense could become one of the most dangerous in the NFC South. There's a catch, though. It all depends on the synchronicity between these new pieces and the veterans who remain. A strengthened front seven needs a secondary that can withstand the pressure. And if Mike Hughes or Clark Phillips III can't keep up, opposing quarterbacks will exploit this weakness mercilessly. That's the bet the coaching staff is making. It remains to be seen if it will pay off. And speaking of bets, Shelby Harris's name continues to be heavily circulated behind the scenes. If Fontenot actually pulls off this trade with Cleveland, it won't just be a coaching reinforcement, but a clear sign that the team is willing to invest heavily to make this defense even more robust. With Harris, the Falcons would gain not only production but also veteran leadership along the line. It's this kind of movement that can be the difference in tight games, where a stop on third down determines the outcome. And if the defense can hold on, then the ball will be in Penix's hands to solve. This is the scenario that's unfolding: a young quarterback with plenty of talent, supported by a defense on the rise, and a franchise that, for the first time in years, appears to have a coherent plan. And now, I want to hear from you, fans. Do you think the Falcons' defense is ready to hold its own if the offense is still picking up pace? Do you believe Penix can be the difference maker Atlanta has been waiting for since Matt Ryan's departure? And what do you think of Shelby Harris's possible arrival? Comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say about all this. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Go Falcons!